There's a kind of success people don't talk about. The kind that looks good on the outside, but costs you your peace on the inside. And far too many of us are achieving while quietly abandoning ourselves. If you ever hit a goal and still felt empty, if you've ever hustled so hard, you forgot who you were doing it for, this conversation is for you. Because success was never meant to require your soul.
Mm-hmm. And so the first thing is to get good at discerning what it is you need to actively cope with and what it is that disengagement coping is important. When there's an emergency, you don't have time for feelings. You have to handle it.
Just act.
But in most cases in our lives, we're not experiencing emergency. And so because we're not experiencing emergency, in many ways, we can take some time to say, ouch, that thing hurt me that you said.
And that's why today's conversation matters. Because what if success didn't have to hurt? What if you could lead, build, grow, and still protect the most important parts of you? Your mind, your identity, your peace. Dr. Cicely Horsham-Brathwaite has spent her life helping high achievers, leaders, and world changers do exactly that. And in her book, Self-Care Activities for Women, she gives both women and men permission and a plan to succeed without abandoning themselves in the process. So before we step into the full conversation, I want you to take a breath, release whatever you've been carrying today, and open yourself up to this conversation. Hey there. Look, my hope is that the ThriveWell Journey meets you exactly where you are and helps you rise into who you're here to be. It's 2025, and this is your year to thrive despite what the world is throwing at us. And our desire is that our conversations inspire you, bring clarity, and give you a reason to breathe deeper. So our ask is that you take a moment to subscribe, download the episode, and follow us on your favorite RSS platform. Your support doesn't just help the show grow. It helps build a space that's rooted in your evolution. And that means everything to me and the TTJ team. Now, if you're ready to go beyond the episodes, come join our private ThriveWell Journey discussion group on Facebook. We're walking through a 22-week series built to anchor each week in intention, purpose, and meaningful connection. I do so look forward to hearing your voice and can't wait to see you in the group. But for right now, let's get into it. Well, again, we're starting the podcast. I just really want to, and I expressed it to you already, and I just want to welcome you to the ThriveWell Journey podcast. And I'm excited, so excited to really have you on the podcast. So welcome, Dr. Cicely. I know it's Horsham-Brathwaite. So can I call you Dr. Cicely?
Yes, yes, absolutely, L. Michael.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We had such a lovely conversation and connection when we met. And so I am delighted to continue our conversation today and see where it goes.
Yes. I've prepped for this and ready for you because you are a doctor, you're a psychologist, you're a coach, and I had to level up. So I had to make sure I'm ready to have a great conversation with you. But before we get going, I really wanted to, because you took the privilege of sending me your book.
I did.
And there's Self-Care Activities for Women, 101 Practical Ways to Slow Down and Reconnect with Yourself. And I'm going to promote this right now because I really want women to go get this. And I know it's for women, but there's some activities in here for men. So don't feel, if you walk around this book, don't feel bad. So this is an excellent book, and we'll talk about it. So, wow. Thank you for writing this. I gifted this to my sister, one of my sisters, and she's going to take it from me as soon as we're done here. So,
well, and make sure, look at some of the activities that you feel called to, because a lot of the research that drives the suggestions that I've made don't take gender into account. And so the writing and the conceptualizing of some of the things that are unique to women is what leads the book to be focused on activities for women. For some reason, both my books, the publisher picked the colors and they're both pink. My first book doesn't say it's just about women, but um, I've had several folks tell me that the men in their lives have been carrying it around, so go for it.
See,
Anyone who's watching,
that's what I'm talking about. So, man, you guys can get this too. I
yeah,
mean, we'll talk about a couple of activities in here that I really connected with. There's a lot of them, but there's two that I want to specifically talk about. And throughout the conversation, I really want people to have this question playing around in their mind and leave these in the comments, which is, what is, and if you had to make a change in your life, and if you fully believed it was possible, what would be your next level move? And through this conversation, we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, to speak to you. And so just have that question in your mind. And when as I was doing the research after we connect, and I was like, I need to know more about her and see what's going on with her. And you have a very interesting story. You had Caribbean and American parents, right?
yes.
And how did that? You talked about that a little bit. How did that influence who you are today, as far as you get into the role that you're in right now, and just your world?
Yeah, I mean, I so many ways, probably ways that as I grow and change, will become more and more apparent to me. So my dad is from Trinidad, and he migrated to Canada and then the United States. And my mom is from South Carolina, and she is part of the Gullah Geechee ethnic group, and
Nice.
they migrated from South Carolina to New York. And so, what I've come to realize is that having the experience of parents who knew what it was like to be outsiders, they had to learn to translate the environment and make sense of it
Hmm.
while also um, remaining true to themselves and who they are and maintaining their cultural heritage, not feeling like they had to shed it. But also, that's a delicate dance, right? They
Yeah.
also uh, had to figure out how to translate and live between worlds. And so I come from people who, for a variety of reasons, left their home to search for a better opportunity for themselves and their families, right?
Hmm.
And I think that that set me up well for what I do today, which is to listen to the needs that people and organizations have and read between the lines, because when you straddle culture, you have to read between the lines.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that that set me up very well to go through my doctoral education and then work in the environments as well as in my business that I have worked in, because I can be part of and know how to step outside and observe. And I think one of my particular gifts is to be able to spot what is out of alignment and help individuals, teams, and organizations and companies get themselves back into alignment. What are the shifts that get them there? And so, um, my work is to be an observer of culture, and I learned it from people who, to survive, learn to
Hmm.
observe culture.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really powerful place. And then to have someone to come in that can see something that's probably not working for them, um, come in and just make a shift in someone's mindset or just a way to do things.
Mhm.
Um, and you also, like, you've had influences, and I took in your story that I found out there was in your undergrad, before you got to your
Yeah.
doctoral degree, you had somebody that was very influential to you. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, and I know her name. Her name is Dr. Angela Byers, and
Okay.
I don't, I, she was not doctor yet, but I met her at a conference in New Mexico. I think it was New Mexico. It may not have been. It was somewhere. It might have been Atlanta.
Somewhere.
Atlanta, and she was doing a presentation, and I had the chance to just observe her. She was another woman of African descent, and she spoke and presented in a way that felt familiar to me. And while I had a role model, my uncle, who is close in age to me, is also a psychologist. So he was in his doctoral program, but he's a man. And just to see her, I felt like this thing that I have placed on my mind and heart that I've been saying I want to do, I can actually do it.
Mm,
And so seeing her be in that space was sort of like um, a magnet that helped draw me toward where I was meant to go, right? Like that magnet is there, but I've come to realize that that pull is there, but we often need sturdy role models to help us to envision getting there. And she
hmm
was that for me. I remember years later, after I'd already completed my training and was a psychologist, I happened upon her somewhere, and uh and again, like it was a chance quick meeting, and let her know what she meant to me.
Yeah.
And that was just a beautiful opportunity to have that chance.
Yeah. I think that's pretty awesome and profound because to have someone to look up to or see in the space that you want to be in and not necessarily know where you want to go, but have some kind of a North Star, it's 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 pretty great, first of all. And I know that some people may not have that. And to have that is a gift, right?
Yeah.
And so that led you into really your focus, really. And so I want to talk about a little bit about that, which is social cognitive therapy. Is that what it is?
So the one of the theories that I used in my dissertation research is a career theory called social cognitive career theory, taken from social cognitive theory, and basically it looks at things like how um, the opportunities that we see, our assessment of the barriers we face to our career goals, um, play a role in our lives. And it's the accuracy of sort of understanding those barriers that helps us to then take action that allows us to navigate those barriers successfully. And part of how we might do that is to have experiences that strengthen our self efficacy, our belief that our effort can produce the outcomes that we're moving toward. It's about being able to see other people do things that have been placed in our mind and heart, and help us to understand that it is possible, and
Mhm.
then having that awareness, taking action to move us towards that goal, and then adjusting along the way. And
Yeah.
um, so I think it's helpful to have that framework in mind. And part of the reason I drew from that framework is that I was studying the experiences of African American women who had been on public assistance, what helped them to transition to work, what were the some of the inner strategies that they used to
Okay.
move forward.
And I mean, there's barriers in different situations. Can you speak to like some of the barriers and how someone can overcome a barrier in their specific, situation?
Yeah. Okay. The number one thing that I find when I'm working with folks is that, well, there are a few, but the thing
Yeah.
that stands out that I think is a framework is that um, active versus disengaged coping makes the difference. So every day we're confronted with things that we have to cope with. And quite frankly, if you belong to any group that has historically experienced some sort of marginalization, I know we're on here, but I'm seeing something in my glasses that I'm trying to get rid of.
That's okay.
Um, and I think it's just a shadow. So um, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So it's just in my eye. So every day we're confronted with things. And if our brain and if our sort of like mind and awareness allowed us to cope with every single thing, we just wouldn't get anything done. We would be stuck. We would be paralyzed. But if
Right.
you belong to any group that has experienced some form of marginalization, whether that's poverty due to inequities regarding race, gender, whatever the thing is, the way that many of the places where we live are structured is that if you were to pay attention to all of the slights in the course of your day, that you just, again, you wouldn't get anything done.
Right. It's
And
too
so
many.
often, too much. So often we sort of push things away,
Hmm.
right? And so, like, for my people, it might be like, I'm not studying them. I'm not paying attention to what they said or did. I'm just going to keep on moving. And what happens is that when we generalize that to every kind of like thing that we are coping with, it can lead us to be engaged in disengaged coping. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we want to do is actively cope with and address the things that come up that may be barriers to the thing we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing is to
Here on the ThriveWell Journey, we talk a lot about not just surviving, but thriving. And a big part of that for me has been understanding my health on a deeper level. That's why I partnered with Live Good and brought it under my company, Orion's Health. Not just because I believe in the products, but because I've seen what they can do firsthand. I've walked through some hard health chapters in my life, including cancer and a kidney transplant. And I know what it feels like when your body's working against you. That's why we're offering 2 free tools that help me and can help you too. First, go to myfreehealthreport.com/Orion's Health. Take our quick health questionnaire and get a personalized report created by Dr. Ryan Goodkin, Live Good's Director of Product Development. It's clear, actionable, and totally free. Second, visit myfreedetox.com and get a free chlorophyll and zeolite detox bottle with your first product order. It's a gentle, natural way to clear out toxins and start fresh, something I personally use and stand behind. This isn't just a sponsorship, it's part of my mission through Orion's Health to help people thrive in body, mind, and spirit. Of course, always consult your physician before starting any new supplement or health regimen. Your body is unique, and your healthcare provider should always be part of the conversation. The links are in the show notes. Now tap in and take your next step toward thriving.
get good at discerning what it is you need to actively cope with and what it is that disengagement coping is important. When there's an emergency, you don't have time for feelings. You have to you have to handle it.
Just act.
But in most cases in our lives, we're not experiencing emergency. And so because we're not experiencing emergency, in many ways we can take some time to say, ouch, that thing hurt me that you said. Or, I'm feeling tired. Uh, and so once you acknowledge the ouch, the feeling, the emotion, tending to it is a way of actively coping.
Mm,
And that, I think, making that switch between I just push everything away and keep it moving to a more refined, there's some things I give my attention to and some things I don't, um, is really I think the first switch that people need to take, and because I talk about self-care as part of my contribution to leaders, to entrepreneurs, I talk about three different types of self-care that are anchors to help with the ways in which we cope, and we can certainly talk about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that because I'm excited for us to actually go over these. But you talked about you push away and keep things moving. Do you find that very? I know you dealt with life during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and I think I know Americans have always been a hustle culture, but it seems like more so now
Mm-hmm.
than before. Do you do you find that a lot of people embrace that hustle culture, which I definitely did for a minute, but not so much now anymore, and really don't stop to acknowledge the ouch or acknowledge the things that keeps them from really taking care of themselves?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's easy for us to look at that from an individual perspective. Like, yes, I find that many folks are doing that. And to some extent, what it takes to change that is that individuals have to change. And when we were living under the global pandemic conditions, depending on where you lived, it forced many people to slow down.
Hmm.
Um, but what I think is that the larger context is that we call it hustle culture because there are many aspects of our daily lives that are compelling us to uh, to hustle,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So um, our phones are designed to keep us engaged
Hmm.
and to take us down a rabbit hole. And I
Yeah.
love a good rabbit hole as well as the next person.
Right. I think we all do.
Right, right. And 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 part of what we consume tells us that we can always be better and different.
Hmm.
And so that adds to it. And then our devices are these like wonders in little tiny machines that give us 24-hour access to the world, and the world 24-hour access to us. And
Hmm.
what they're doing is really hitting the dopamine centers of our brain and calling us back and back and back. And they're doing it on sort of an intermittent response um, pattern, like the slot machines in
Oh,
the
yeah.
casino, right? And so and we are our culture is organized around consumption, and I'm not going to say any of those things are blanketly bad, right?
Hmm.
Not at all. What I am going to say is that so it is easy to get caught up in being and doing and having, and to be, do, and have often requires, we believe, hustling.
Hmm.
And so as someone like yourself who dabbled in that and realized like you were getting out of the matrix, I think it takes conversations like this from a variety of people, giving that message for folks to consider the importance of pausing, right? And Dr. Sandra Dalton, I think Smith is her name, who writes about rest, talks about the seven types of rest. I think part of how we get out of hustle culture is that we disconnect a little bit and then notice what becomes clearer. And so that we can develop um, a more regulated tapping into our achievement and manifesting. And so I think what flips the switch for people is recognizing you can have many of the things that you want. Uh, Probably need to get really clear about what it is you want. And there are ways to bring it forth to you that don't require hustle. I don't know
Mm.
if that's what you asked me, but that's what I want
No,
to say to you.
it's because it's perfect. She said, I don't know what you asked, but that's what I want to say, and there you go. You got it. And it's perfect, because there's a couple things that you talked about. I guess I might as well just go in this direction. You talked about getting out of the matrix. And well, before we get out of the matrix, I know you said it's not blankly bad, the hustle culture, but just from my experience, and I guess I'll link this back to getting out of the hustle culture and out of the matrix. There are moments and times when I'm so very present where, like, I've had this conversation before, where 3D, we're 3D, right? I haven't experienced that. It's like more 5D, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm in reality, but it doesn't feel like reality. Like I'm so present that the reality looks really different,
Yeah.
right? That practice for me is just causing myself to be present. Um, I don't know how to explain it, but can you explain that, or do you understand what I'm saying? And then if you do, can you explain that to people so they
Yeah.
can not
Yeah.
be do have, but still be able to have the things they want, but not live in that hustle?
Yeah. I mean, I think that many people talk about this in different ways. I know that you have had a guest on, Mariana Cooper, who talks about 3D and 5D, and
Which is how we met.
yes, how and so I'm such a fan of her intellect, and but the intellect is reducing it, like a fan of the ways that she understands and experiences and invites people to have an experience that takes us out of the day to day. And so part of how I understand that is that um, since the dawn of time, when Homo sapiens existed, uh, people have had to pay attention more than to what they saw, but pay attention to uh, how the ant tracks are working on the on the in the sand, to
Mm,
understand what's happening, maybe if they're tracking animals. Um, from the dawn of time, there have been mothers who understood the difference, or caregivers who understood the difference in the cry of the child that they were rearing. Right, that there is like this sense that we have, and I think where we are going is to a place where people can see the expansion of the world, see how we're all connected, and also how we are connected to wisdom and experience that is outside of like what day to day we learned in school. And so I believe that that is individual for each person, and it's
mhm,
contextual to your culture, right? Like some people
mm,
know uh, see a different lens on reality because they're looking at the ways the tea leaves form in their cup. Others through their religious and spiritual expression of ecstatic praise, where they go to a place where they have a different sense of knowing. Sometimes it comes in their dreams, right? Like on my mom's side of the family, the understanding, like if you dream a fish, somebody is pregnant. um
right.
um and so I think that all of that has always existed, and we are at a place where we can tolerate that there is more than just being tapped into the reality that the TV or the news wants us to know, or wants us to have as a perspective. And one of the ways to get to that is a slowing down, is a a experiencing of being with yourself in a space, and often that comes from slowing down through reflection, through meditative walking, um, uh, journaling, resting and sleeping. And rest and sleep, we know, are two different things, where you can start to access the truth that your body, your wisdom, that which is greater than you, if you believe in that, is sending you um, awareness and messages.
Mm,
And so I am a sort of um, someone who integrates what my cultural and spiritual beliefs are along with what science tells us.
mhm,
And I don't feel like you have to be either way. I feel like you can marry the two. From a science perspective, well, a great place where you see that is the research on meditation, that folks
mhm,
who meditate for the spiritual aspects of it often are coming to some of the same experiences and conclusions as those who study the impact of meditation on our minds, our hearts, our health, our psychological well-being. And I think that's always helpful. And so when, I talked earlier about one of the things that I do is help people to figure out where they're out of alignment and to get back into alignment. And uh, the way to do that is often through some slowing down and alternate perspective. And you described one of those ways as being between 3D and 5D, and understanding the difference. And I think that these are integral tools of sort of like a pulling back and a slowing down. I know many entrepreneurs subscribe to and listen to your podcast. That is essential for an entrepreneur, because what also doesn't work with hustle culture, as you very well know, is saying yes to everything. So in a business,
mhm,
like, you can't say yes to every client just to get $5. You
mhm.
can't. All work is not good work if it's out of alignment. And it is in that slowing, that and receptive state of idea and opportunity that allows you to make the right choices for your business, or to sort of self-correct when maybe um, you have made a decision and the decision isn't working out well for you, right? That's not necessarily a mistake. It's just an opportunity to um, take a different approach sometimes.
Yeah. Um, so let me digest all that for 1 second. That's something you can't just.
Lots of thoughts, L. Michael.
No, I think that's really great. What I was thinking about, especially the last part you said when you talk about entrepreneurs, in the space where I'm okay, let's do a versus. When I'm like always in the work and I'm like doing this and doing and doing and doing, it's just about doing, like getting things done. But when I do take a moment to step back and kind of collect myself and do a just breathe a little bit, um, there's a difference in just the way of being that happens. And so in that difference, there's more creativity and more flow. And that's when I notice, like, oh, here's a good idea. And I get to connect ideas for the businesses that I have. And there's a flow there. And I'm not just, you know, on a hamster wheel, trying to run. And I think that um, entrepreneurship can be more, it could be purposeful, fulfilling, and you can still make, the kind of ends that you need to make as far as money, without being burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to say two things to that. And I think sometimes it's the burnout that gets you to that awareness that things can be different. Oftentimes,
Oftentimes it
most
does.
people most people don't come to see me in either my therapy practice or my coaching practice because they feel so great.
Right. That's it. That's it.
There is a problem,
Yeah.
right? And so I agree with you 100% that it doesn't have to be that way, and it takes conversations and hearing this
Hmm.
over and over that people can envision that there is a different way to be. And so, if you are someone who really just wants to take it from a brain perspective, that slowing down and the clarity of what your goals are allows your brain to be working in the background so that it can then spot opportunities for you to take that allow you to be in the flow with your business. Like, so slowing down allows you to be in a receptive state,
Yes.
right? It allows you to give presence. It allows you to be the observer of your thoughts, which is something that happens also when you meditate, rather than being so immersed in your thoughts. And so that's one way of thinking about it. You know, Folks who talk about that from a manifestation perspective would also say, like, you have to slow down and you receive downloads. And then there's this intersection between paying attention to the neuroscience and then the manifestation. There's an overlap between the two, and all of that very much leads you to slowing down. I have a friend who is an entrepreneur that I admire, who talks about, like, rest is a business strategy action,
Hmm.
right? And so um, I what you say makes so much sense, and it makes so much sense for me. I mean, I've recently had some new ideas about my own business. Sometimes you think it's a new idea, but sometimes it is that you've slowed down enough to feel more aware or confident of the message that
Yeah.
I'm not saying you, I that I've received for a long time, and now
Hmm.
my body is regulated enough to be able to hear and take action on that advice.
Hmm.
And um, it's just a wonderful different feeling that that um, sometimes you have to go through the challenge to realize that burnout is not going to get you. It's like burnout is a dead end street.
It's a dead end street. And excuse me, it can get serious, but you talked about, you just said regulated. I don't think people think about their body as needing to be regulated. And I think that that's a powerful place to be. Like that word, I don't know, it does something to me when you say regulate. Regulate yourself.
Yes. Regulate, like, get regulate. And we can also co-regulate, right? Like, we can be, people come to me also because despite whether or not I live my life as a calm person, people feel a sense of calm in my presence, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that also happens in um, positive relationships with others, group environments where we feel a sense of belonging and safety. But that regulation is so important. And if you don't have people taking a walk in nature and not focusing on what's on your phone or even listening to music, but just paying attention to the experience of seeing the trees, how the sun is hitting them, or how the light is playing off the waves in the ocean, or how the sand is peaking and the valleys on the beach that you're walking on. It's like it's that attention to the natural that can also help us regulate.
Mhm.
And we need that. I need that.
No, yeah, I think we need just as a collective,
Yeah.
um, to really take in those moments that are always present, but we just don't take the moment to actually look at it. And
Yeah.
I think those moments for me, like you said it for you, but those moments for me really helped me, and I will say it, regulate. I didn't think about it that way, but it really kind of, I guess another way to say it is
Yes.
align myself
Yeah.
and
Oh, I love
just,
that.
yeah, just get connected, man.
Yeah.
Just get connected with yourself. Oh, okay.
Tell me, I want to ask you, how did you learn that? How did you learn to align, to regulate yourself, or that it was even important?
Um, I've never had that question asked, but what I will say is through my journey through self-discovery and putting myself in um, programs that really helped me to discover who I am as a person in this, in this body, uh, just going through different situations that took me outside of myself and being in those self-discovery I don't know, moments. I knew what felt good and what didn't.
Mm.
And I'll put it this way. With a business partner, we kind of had a moment, right? That was uncharacteristic of her. And then um an old me would have bounced back and, be like, yo, what do how you talking to me like that? But what I did was I was calm and settled and I said, okay, we'll talk about this later after we got off the Zoom. Um, and in that moment, it was important for me to just stay grounded within myself because the other person that years ago where I would, you know, would have been was it cattywomp or whatever what they call it. Um, I, that person was addicted to that kind of reaction. But the person that I become um, loves the fact that I can stay within myself and stay grounded, think emotionally with intelligence about what's happening, and then be okay, and then deal with it another day when you know attitudes have calmed down. And it's just been through, I think, through the moments when I was not that, I was totally opposite, that I came back to myself as like, I don't like that person. And that person can't solve issues. That person can't solve what's happening. And if I can't solve that, then I'm stuck in that moment. And I don't want to be stuck in the past. I want to be very, very present while I'm still creating my future from this present moment. And that's how I talk to myself. Uh,
Mm.
and it just, for me, it not only feels good, but I then I get the opportunity to continue to build what I'm building for my future.
Oh, that was beautiful. It makes me want to start a podcast so I can interview you. Um, can I have two things, probably more, but I'll just say two things to that. Um, it is so powerful for you to share that in the identities that you hold and the life experience that you hold, right? To share that about what it means as a man to pull back from the reaction that your life experience, the testosterone in your body would tell you to, and the messages, would tell
Yeah.
you that you need to be. And it's so it's really, I appreciate you sharing that. And I think the another thing that it highlights is that, you know, many of us, we grew up where we were told to keep a stiff upper lip, and we either were pushed to excel
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not given attention. And there were not expectations, and we decided, or we were exposed to something that leads people to watch your podcast every week, right? And pay attention to personal development through books and such. And I think that that helps to create a shift in our world. You know, I am not someone who believes that the only way to grow is therapy. I think there are some things that therapy is the like the way for, right? And then there
Mm-hmm.
are things that a combination are for. And um and so many of us learned patterns from those who came before us where they didn't have the luxury of investing in coaching or programs or um or even education, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're at a time in our history where we in many ways have the luxury to be able to do these things and access, right? You can get a whole PhD on Spotify and YouTube. You may not have a paper, but like a whole PhD, like we have access to that. And so I I think the opportunity to invest in ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and then share what we learn from that investment, I really believe provides growth and healing that goes forward in generations and also goes back in generations. I know that for if one thing is true about my life, I know that my study and research and writing about self-care has made a difference for the women in my family. I
Mm-hmm.
know that uh, the women younger than me and the women who came before me. I know that in every fiber of my being. And so I started this to say that I think the beautiful thing about leadership as an entrepreneur, leadership, if you're leading in a job or in a community, it truly is a personal development and spiritual path. It gives
Yes.
you all kinds of opportunities to grow and develop yourself. And I loved hearing the gift that you have given yourself, your family, your business partner of your own development.
Yes. Thank you. And it keeps the relationship going because like I told her, I was like, okay, it's okay. We didn't kill each other.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh,
And
and can I tie that back to something? And
yes, yes.
that's how being out of hustle. That's an example of how out being out of hustle
Mm,
helps to strengthen your business. Do you see that? Because you can pull back and say, okay, let's pull back, let's pause, and then let's come back to this.
hmm.
Because quite frankly, if we are really flooded by our emotions, then we're not able to engage the part of our brain that is best for planning and problem solving. I mean, that is part of the science around that as well.
Yes. I didn't think about that, but that is so on point because I know if it was, go, 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 just hustling, trying to get to the next thing, try to doing whatever, the emotions are they're high at that moment. Um, and yeah, I see that. And that's why I have to write notes because I forget what I want to connect that to, but forget it. I'm just going to talk about um, a couple of things, a couple of activities I saw in your book, and I really want to go through them real quick. And uh, I was going to try to tie it with something that you said, but I'm just going to go into it.
Okay.
Um, one of the activities, you have 101, so they're really great. But one of them was called "I Am Worthy."
Oh yeah, what page are you on?
61.
Funny how I don't have that memorized, right? Great.
And you talk about, okay, basically I'm going to read it for folks. Self-worth is broadly defined as a deep sense of knowing that you have inherent value by virtue of being alive, which is not contingent on the opinions of others. There are many cultural messages of how a woman should be or look that creates a narrow view of womanhood that can erode self-worth. Positive self-worth worth help people develop a mental inner ally to squash their inner critic and actively refute negative messages. It requires practice to cultivate self-worth. And in the activity, you'll strengthen your worthiness muscles by listing all of the reasons you are worthy. And I think one of the things that people deal with, women in particular, because it's about that, but men as well, they bring some of the old stories to their situations where they're trying to fulfill a story where they're telling themselves that they're not worthy,
Mm-hmm.
and it bring that stuff, that mess, right, and that story into leadership. And can you just talk about that a little bit, and how this exercise helps
Yeah.
supports that?
Let me paint a picture. If you believe that you're not worthy and you hold a position that comes with some authority in your business, at your job, and people ask you smart, critical questions about something that you have said, done, or planning to do, uh, that can lead folks to misuse the positional authority that they hold because, oh, they don't think I'm smart enough. They don't think I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so imagine what it looks like if you both have up leveled your awareness of your inherent worth and or have a practice of being in relationship with your worth. When
Mm-hmm.
you are questioned, you can respond with grace, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
this activity, because our self-worth often isn't something that we think a lot about, uh, allows us to think about and to do it and to give our brain evidence to draw from that helps us to understand what makes us uniquely fabulous. And
Mm-hmm.
so by doing this activity, which is to write 50 things that make you fabulous, you are giving yourself a database. And I suggest that folks not only do it once, but that they put it into their calendar with regularity to come back to that list and to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these activities have to be done out the box the way they are. You can adjust it to my worth list, right? And so slowly over time, it helps you to, again, deepen your sense of worth. Now, if you really want to do something, what you might do is challenge what are the negative thoughts that you have that challenge all of those things of worth on your list so that you can see, like, do you need a statement that feels more accurate? Or is there something that you can say that you can negate the negative thought that you have so that you can build up the more positive ones? And I have another activity in the book about addressing your automatic negative thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that help you to practice ways to distance yourself from those thoughts and to decrease the power of them.
ANT. I was going to actually use that as another example, but yes, I read that and I was like, oh, ANT, okay, this
Yeah,
is cool.
yeah. That acronym. I mean, it's something that has been in cognitive behavioral therapy for a long time. And Dr. Daniel Amen of the Amen Clinic um, uh, coined automatic negative thoughts. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that was pretty. pretty dope. I'd say.
Yeah.
All right, I want to do one more. Talk about one more here.
Sure.
This is on page 97, which is daydream your way to your career move.
Ah,
Yeah, this
you
is
know why I'm
awesome.
saying because I put a bookmark in for this discussion, and somehow I had the sense that this is what you were going to ask me.
What?
Or I felt like we were going to talk about some way.
That is okay. This is what that's wild. That's wild. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and just read the activity here. You can harness the power of visualization to see the future outcome you desire. When you visualize, you shift your sense of self to that of a person who has met the goal, and you build your confidence in achieving it. Doing this primes your brain to take the opportunities in your life to bring you closer to the hoped for outcome. So you talk for this activity, you'll start by identifying professional goals and spend time imagining yourself reaching it. Please expound on that for
Yeah,
folks.
yeah. I have two things I want to say about this. So, inspiration from this came initially from this study I read a very long time ago about folks who were laid off from their jobs, and they were in a reemployment program.
Hmm.
And they found that having job seekers visualize themselves going on job interviews, handling the questions, the ups and downs of the process, and visualizing how they would deal with them, um,
Hmm.
that the people who visualized had strong outcomes, right? So that was the inspiration. And it's also based on the notion that our brains don't differentiate between what is real and what is imagined, and so
Mm.
we use the imaginal power of our brain um, to move us closer toward our goals. And the thing that you need to do is to be really clear about what it is that you want. I like the work of James Doty, who has written two great books, and unfortunately just passed recently.
Oh.
He writes about manifestation from a neuroscience perspective, and I weave that into my work with folks. And one of the things he talks about is that he learned the importance of tuning into your heart, right? When you want about what you want, so it's in alignment with the greater good. And because his studies are around compassion and altruism. And so, what I find really compelling about that for this activity is like you really put your full senses into imagining what you want,
Hmm.
and that imagining is so powerful. And you need other ingredients, but two ingredients that I will share is you need consistency of exposure to what that vision is, and then you also need action,
Hmm.
right? Like um it's not enough to, well, there are different schools of thoughts on this, right? But from a perspective of leaders in businesses and such, like you're often going to need action, right? Like you may do very well with word, whatever that term is, like referrals.
Hmm.
But at a certain point, often you're going to need to be able to know how to bring in your own clients and customers and opportunities, right? And so, what I love about this activity is like getting clear on what you want. And then I suggest people then go take action, like they connect with folks on LinkedIn, um, or they let friends know what they're doing in their business, or attend some networking thing, or post something on their socials, right? Like you want to take action toward it, to help sharpen the picture and like get some of the force behind what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah. I thought that was really powerful because I'm really into that and the visualization and manifestation. But one of the things that you just addressed, which is really take action. And I think what happens in my experience is that when I visualize, like, even in this conversation, I've said this before, like in this conversation, I visualized we're actually in a studio where you're across from me, I'm across from you, and we're talking about this exact thing, right? And it's great to have that and continue to have it over and over again. That's the consistent part, but it's also taking action. And so it's the things that I can do to elevate this podcast so I can actually get into that place
Yeah.
where, we're actually in a studio and I get
Yeah.
to invite people to the studio and things like that.
Oh, fun. I mean, fun part of what might also go into that is that we have mirror neurons in our brain that
Mm.
that communicate our intentions to other people, right? We also know that there's there's this term, emotional contagion, that like emotions spread in groups of people, and there's some research that they found, I think during the pandemic, that that emotional contagion can happen over um, online platforms when you're having a team or work meeting. And so I bring that up to say, from the mirror neurons perspective, um, when you said that, I just had this image, like, I don't feel that we're in different spaces. I really feel like we're having an experience of being in the room talking together. And I didn't notice that until you said it.
Until I said something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know, like, that's a when I know that when I'm having a really connected conversation, like the teleprompter, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't, I mean, it's here, but it doesn't really exist. It's almost as if there's just a sense of just being like in a moment. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So I love that. You call it, okay. I'm not scientific that way, but I love it. Is it mirror? Is it mirror, like mirror, like MIR?
Mirror neuron.
Mirror
Yeah,
neurons? Okay.
yeah.
So, okay, that's what I wrote in my notes here. All right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
want to make
You
sure.
got it. You got
Uh,
it. I like, I'm a little bit of a geek like that. I like to have a label to sort of understand my experiences.
yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally understand. You know, can you really just, as we're closing out the hour, but is there a powerful transformation that you've seen through your work as a coach and as a psychologist, that you've seen someone experience in pursuing, like who they come to you to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm going to talk about this in generalities because I prefer, even without names, to have permission
Right.
for talking about people. But the thing that consistently the people I work with tell me is that they, through being witnessed in our work, that they feel a greater degree of confidence in taking action on the things that they know.
Mm,
And so that looks like um, starting the business that they've wanted to start for 20 years. That looks like being able to set boundaries and accept help within their family unit to give them space to be able to pursue their dreams.
mhm,
That looks like the space in which they lead, um, they, along with their team, are working in a way that feels like people have a sense of belonging and are giving their highest contribution within their work. And I can say for me, you know, like many people, I probably do this work because I'm trying to figure some things out myself, right? And in my experience, um, much of what I talk about has come from not just what I've read about or science or helped my clients, it's that I've also had to learn. And for me, it has helped me to help organizations go from um, performing in a way that um, everybody did what they wanted to being able to have a unified vision to increase the public perception of their work and thereby having more people come into their doors
Mm,
to avail themselves of the services offered because we set a collective vision and we dealt with the things that were toxic within the organization, and that created transformations.
mm,
Um, so I love the process. I love, love, love when people are in the liminal space because I know that that discomfort of being in the in between
mm,
is really the indication that seeds have been planted that are going to sprout beautiful flowers on the other side. If I thought people would respond to it, like my business would have like something liminal in the title, but like I haven't found a way to make that cute and compelling.
Maybe too much for people.
Those are some of the those are some of the transformations that I have seen. It's like people
Mm,
stepping into themselves and their unique contribution while they're here on this earth.
yeah, that's how I was going to sum it up, or that's how it was playing in my mind, which is people really stepping into their purpose and their power, and being able to utilize that in their specific areas of life. And I think that's powerful, and this is what you offer for people, and I think that's really powerful. This whole conversation has been just out of this world, honestly. And I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but I think you do because of the experience that that was here was that there was a true connection, and it was like we're apart and we're like right here, you know. And I think that's powerful, and I think that people will that's listening and watching will get the sense of this as well, because the energy it expands,
Yeah.
right? Um, so I wanted I wanted more questions. I had so much, but before we leave, there's two things. One, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, if you heard something today that you want to hear more of and explore what it's like to work with me personally, you can email me at hello@cicelybrathwaite.com. You can also go to cicelybrathwaite.com, and there you'll find a link to sign up for my newsletter. And L. Michael, I'll share with you a link to um, um, a companion to my first book, Better Daily Self Care Habits. I have a free journal that folks can download and have that, and I'll share that link for you for your show notes. Um, so those are the ways. And I'm on Instagram at Dr. Cicely Brathwaite. Um, but if you really want to connect with me, hop into my email and get on my newsletter because I have some exciting things around the corner.
I know you do. I know you do. And last thing is, what's something on your heart or your mind? It could be anything that you would like to share as your last words on this podcast this time.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to be invited back.
Oh, yeah.
Um, um, what I want to say to folks, I think that goes with the theme of the time we spent together today is you are enough. You don't need to have every answer. It is okay to ask for help. And the one thing that you want to do is when you have made an internal change, you will get messages. Someone will say something to you, an idea will come into your head that tells you to do something that is the very opposite of what you would have done before you made that internal shift. Don't turn away from it. That message is telling you, you know what? Stop trying to pursue this contract that you know actually is not the right thing for your business. Or that message that's telling you, be more regular with your Instagram or YouTube posts, or have that conversation. That is energy freed up, that's allowing the new. Don't turn away from it.
Don't turn away from it. Dr. Cicely, I want to say thank you from the depth of my soul and my heart for your time being here. You're a doctor in Manhattan, so like you got things you could be doing, and you took the time out to share your message with me and our audience, and you did not disappoint, and you showed up fully, and I truly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Oh, Michael, this has been a nourishing conversation. I enjoy your preparation and your diligence in shedding information and support to your listeners. I've seen the breadth of the information that you share with the guests that you have, and that's a unique and special contribution. And so I'm really proud to be part of the contribution that you're making today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, thank you all for tuning in and listening and watching. And as we always say, let's make thriving our new normal. And we'll see you next week. Before you go, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of the ThriveWell Journey. Every time you show up here, you're choosing growth, clarity, and the deeper work of becoming who you're meant to be in this world. And if you're ready to reconnect with what truly lights you up, I created something powerful that can help you. It's called the Empowered Path, 7 days to reclaim your purpose and passion. It's a beautifully designed, guided workbook that walks you through a week of powerful prompts, clarity building tools, and real mindset shifts. Now, you can get instant access to it today. It's a small investment for a huge return. Your energy, your clarity, your alignment. And if you want to take it deeper, check this out. I'm offering a limited number of free 30-minute purpose coaching sessions. No pressure, no pitch, just space for you to reconnect with your direction, your gifts, and what's next. So you can grab the guide and book your session at the link in the show notes. Let's not just go through the motions, let's really walk this path on purpose. I appreciate you. And like we always say, let's make thriving our new normal. And I'll talk to you soon.